right, guys, welcome back. I am Blair Armstrong with Old Guys Still Rock, one of the co-hosts here. In just a few moments, we're going to be joined by my other co-host and best friend for almost 30 years, Brent Wright, as we always do every week. So welcome back. And again, thank you for your continued support. Thank you for all the people that have subscribed to our channels. And thank you to all the people that are sharing our message. It means a lot to us. I'll probably most likely will say this in some part of the episode is we will never monetize this show. So it's very important that you share this because once in a while we say the wrong thing that YouTube doesn't like for whatever reason, and we get shadow banned or throttle banned, which means is we do not get the exposure that this show deserves. So I know it's a lot for people, and I know that we're not as big as a Joe Rogan or something like that, but we do once in a while get blocked for something that's said through there. They actually come through this, they find a specific word and they shadow ban us. So if you're watching this and you think that we have something good to share, please, please, please share the show. If you haven't already, which so many of you have, but if you haven't already, please subscribe. I think that we're a grassroots type of thing, as I said to it, and we'll say this somewhere along the show most likely. We're never going to monetize this. So that means is we're never going to take sponsors in so we can continue giving content straight from our hearts and not worrying what other people are going to say in here. It's never going to rub you the wrong way, but it may cause you to pursue life a little different way. So again, today we're going to talk about, Sean's really going to kind of share with us. He's done a massive transition lately with people that he's worked with and people now who he's working for now, and how the pitfalls and the easy parts, the hard parts, the coming to Jesus moments, if you will. So we really hope that you take some time and watch this episode. If it does resonate with you in some way, form, or another, please let us know how that is. Share it in your comments and let us know if you're having some hard times because you're going from a transition from one company to another or one relationship to another. Let us know how it works. So that's it for right now. Enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the other side. Take care, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back. We are Old Guys Still Rock, and we have some special guests on here. But before you get started, if this is your first time here, I am Brent Wright. I'm Brent Wright because right now I'm probably in the middle, but not really. So I am Blair Armstrong. I am with Coldwell Banker, Team Armstrong, located in beautiful Indian Wells. Sometimes this puts me in the middle. Sometimes it puts me in the outside. But in the middle right now is Brent Wright. And then we have a special guest, Sean LaRue. So Brent Wright, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How about yourself? Life is good?
It's crazy. We're chasing cats. Just how we always do it. So it's just the market seems to be doing better. We do have a lot of interested people that are looking to purchase some real estate in here. We're kind of in that, I don't need this home, I want this home, because we're a secondary market a lot in this desert. So that's kind of where we're at. And then some of them want a full-time home, but they're in and out with interest rates, which we have a really good guy on this call today with the essence of Sean LaRue, who's on here. So let me introduce to you Sean LaRue of Sean Loans. You just branched off to a new company, brother. So what is the name of your company now?
Yeah, the new bank I'm with is Neo Home Loans, and we're a subsidiary of a bank out of Minnesota named Illuminate Bank, and they're doing some things a little bit differently, but it's a great place to be.
So welcome on here. So again, going back to, if this is your first time here, Old Guys Still Rock, the reason why we do this show is a premise of what we're going to be talking today is that, the highs and lows of transitioning from one company to another, and the greatness about it and the hurdles about it. But anyway, we're sharing life experiences. This is not what you typically see on Instagram, where we're talking about wins all the time. We do talk about wins. We also
Where's your Lambo?
My Lambo. It's on the back right next to my plane, right? Actually flew it. I flew in from I flew in with a helicopter today, but that's on the roof, and we'll go and see that in a little bit because that's just how I roll.
I came in from my yacht, right?
You're actually on your yacht,
which had the helipad on there for the helicopter, and then I flew that in. Yeah.
Yeah, that should be our intro music as we're taking over.
Yeah,
To
boats and
mock,
hose.
to mock that. It's boats and hose.
Boats and hose. You know,
I
for
love
sure.
that.
So if you guys can, if this is your first time, if you can detect a sarcasm here, that's
Yeah.
we're actually everyday guys. We're successful in our own right. We're successful where we're supposed to be at this present time for God, where God has put us. So we are not going to. We eventually, some of us will get to that spot, but it's not going to be who makes us. So here we go. So Sean LaRue, thanks, brother, for coming on. For those of you who've kind of followed me for a little bit, Sean and I have done some separate podcasts just for Team Armstrong, but now the Team Armstrong and Old Guys Still Rock have now intertwined. So we're bringing Sean on here. Some massive transformations, or not transformations, but some transitions for you lately, brother. So let's just get it. Let's just get into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of change happening. There's a lot of change happening, and you gotta go for it. And for me, in the last 2 years, I'm basically redesigning my life and taking charge with how I want that to look. And I just want to remind everybody that it's never too late to make your life the way you want it. I turned 40 last year. I'm probably going through that midlife thing, questioning, the path I've been on and what I want to do with my life, and just really deciding, like, I've only got one of them. We've got to go for it, and it might be uncomfortable. But I think the most growth comes out of being uncomfortable. And so I don't know. Have you guys ever followed Yes Theory?
I have not.
Their whole premise is seek discomfort. So there are a couple of guys out of Canada that started this media company, and they did all this content, and they just came out with this movie called Iceman. The cold plunges are pretty popular.
I do it twice a day, buddy. Twice a day.
Yeah, right. And so they just came out with this movie Iceman, talking about being uncomfortable, and their whole thing is about seeking discomfort, because if we're always going to be comfortable, we're never going to be able to grow and stretch and get to the next level. So I am very uncomfortable lately, but I'm learning a lot, and really just kind of rebuilding my business, redesigning my business from the ground up. So
yeah, brother. Welcome to our life, and I'm glad that I'm glad that you're doing your restart at 40. I'm in the midst of it as well. I just turned 55, but the realization of a lot of things, even though that there was a catapult to get me, living in what past episodes of what you guys seen of me living in a shoebox at 45 years old, but that's the point of it. The realization, what I'm coming into now, is there's a massive transformation happening with me at 52. So I'm glad that you said that. Don't be scared or ever think. And I think that's great, Brent, what he said, because we've talked about this in the past. It's never too late to make that change, right? And the guys like me that are at 55, that are starting to realize what the changes they need to make at 52. Here are you at 40. Brent did it a little bit earlier than us, but it's, again, I think that's what you said, Sean, is so important right now, because there's guys like you, and there's guys a little bit older too, that I'm hearing more and more and more, like, I'm in this life transition right now, and it scares the hell out of me. So you're trying to find out what's working, what's not working. And this is where why we created this show, is so that you can come on here. Brent and I gladly say this is Therapy Thursdays. So so you get this for free, and we will try to help you with it. We just want to know that, at the end of this show, and, there could be more episodes with you on this afterwards, but also too is, this is a great place to kind of, talk through some stuff and try to figure it out. Right.
Well, that's funny, because yesterday, we were saying, I'm like, I'm still like right in the middle of all of this. Like, I don't know exactly, if whatever where I'm at right now is going to be that helpful. And then we were texting, and I was like, well, shoot, what do I need to tell myself? You know, because part of my new position is recruiting loan officers and building a branch and doing some things. And like I'm having these conversations, and I'm like, holy smokes, I just need to listen to what I'm telling these guys
Right.
and follow my own advice. I mean, we all know what we need to do because, we're leaders in our industry for what we're doing. And a lot of times we just overthink it, and we're just, thinking that we can get to the next step. But we just need to execute and do the steps and the things that we know in order to be successful.
So that's the interesting part about leadership is it's really easy to lead others to do the things that you think they need to do to make them successful. But a real leader really leads himself in the process. And that's going to lead some credit to drive some credibility with the people that you're leading. So you're going to want to make sure that you have the ability to say, I'm going to do this right alongside of you. If I'm
Right.
asking you to do 250 cold calls, I will do 250 with you. I may not do it every day, but I'm going to be in the pit with you, right? We're going to be in the muck and the mire together, slinging it,
Right.
and that's going to that's going to drive a lot more followers, if you will. I'm not socially, but from an employee standpoint, or in your business, most people are independent, and you're just trying to drive them and help them and coach them to success. Is that how it works in your industry? I don't know. So
Yeah. I mean, basically, if I'm a branch manager and I want to build my company, I'm trying to get other loan officers in under me and be a leader in that space, answering their questions, troubleshooting their files, giving them advice on how to handle real estate agents or clients with different situations that come up. But yeah, being a leader, leading by example, doing all the things. We were talking about the social media videos, being consistent and doing those habits every day, so people see that.
there are a
There's
lot
a
of folks that drive 75 hard in their organizations. If you have the ability to start out at the bottom, I would start with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was looking into that last week after I saw your whole decision making, and what was it, consequences and outcomes of your decisions last week. That was a really powerful podcast. So
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Sean, too, and I think that we can all attest to this. There's also a sense of we become leaders is that sometimes we do not feel like we're equipped. And there's a little bit of imposter syndrome in there because of the pitfalls that we may have had along the way.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we talk about that enough. So, and I'm still learning this. Brent and I have been, as everyone have seen on this, if you haven't, Brent and I have been friends for 30 years. There's a lot of stuff that you learn to. Is one thing that I've really learned to become a leader is be super transparent and share your pitfalls, but also share your successes as well, as what we're talking about here. So it's quite the journey to be in the position that you are, Sean, and we feel for you because we're all sitting there listening to you. I'm like, oh yeah,
Been
and
there.
that every day you're like waking up. I'm like, oh my God, I suck today, or I may have let that person down that I'm trying to lead or trying to encourage us. Some different things, but
Or I don't even
um,
feel like getting out of bed today. How am I going to
yeah,
do this? How am I going to pull this off with all these people, right?
yeah, it's tough, and we all have a great story. And I just think that right now is just to share that story as much as possible on there, and that's really what I've learned over my therapy Thursdays. Over I think we're episode number 39 today, brother. Is that right?
38. We can't count
38.
as we get older, right?
Kiefer, I have Alzheimer's. I think that we're doing a lot better than we are. But anyways, man. So let me
You just
go. Let
want
me
to
go
get to
back to
40.
this. What'd you say?
You just want to get to 40. That's all.
I really want to hit that 40 mark, and we're going to get there. But Sean, one of the things is you were with a pretty predominant mortgage company in the area, And what I'm hearing, is the same thing with me. Is we're with different companies. Is sometimes we're not feeling fulfilled. Like we're feeling like we're not saying that that company can't provide that for us. I'm just saying to the point of sometimes we feel like there's more to answer to. Did you have that feeling, or was it just what was your calling to get to this point that you're in now?
I've been with the same company for 17 years, and so I mean that's pretty unheard of in this
Mm-hmm.
in the mortgage space and industry,
Mm-hmm.
or really any company or organization these days. I think anything more than 5 years is a really long time, especially when you know the the experts or whoever you're taking advice from say you should be moving up or switching jobs or positions every 2 to 3 years. I think 2 years is a little fast to
Mm-hmm.
learn everything that you need to learn. um, but for me, I felt like it was just a time to grow and expand, try something different. I've been, like I was saying earlier, I've been going through a lot of personal changes, kind
Mm-hmm.
of shuffling everything up and turning itself on its head. Um, you know, I like you guys, I'm a constant learner. I think we can constantly improve and tweak and do a little bit better. But after 17 years, you kind of get comfortable with the way things
Mm-hmm.
are, the way you do things. And, I started thinking like, hey, I've been doing this 17 years. Like, you don't think I know what I'm doing kind of thing, and getting a chip on my shoulder. And it's like, okay, well, you need to stay humble and look at it. And maybe it's time to do a bootstraps ground, bottom up kind of revamp, and just make sure that you're still doing everything you think you should be doing. And so in order to do that, I needed to surround myself with different people. I needed to surround myself with people that think differently, that I haven't been entrenched with for the last 5 years, and really open myself up to relationships and influences that would make me better. And the only way you can do that is to surround yourself with people that you're not friends with, or that
Mm-hmm.
you're not ingrained with. Um, they say that you're the cumulative effect of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I needed to spend some time with some different people for a little bit, see what they're doing that works for them, and just kind of glean all of that information. And so that's more or less where that all came from. Just the
Mm-hmm.
thought that maybe I can learn more, maybe. And I'm finding out I've been doing things pretty good, you know. And in making this transition, I think it's important to come back to the main point is you have to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to believe that you know what you know, and that you're an expert in what you do, and that it's not necessarily about the company that you're with, but about your company and who you are and how you make people feel during the service that, and experience that you're providing to your clients. And so for me, it's been really, uh, it's been really heartwarming and reassuring to know that the relationships that I've built over the last 17 years, um, are as good and as strong as I would think they would be. And you just got to lean into that and know that, you know, if you do the right thing and you're making the right choices, your history and reputation will precede you.
Yeah. Yeah. Brent, I got a question because I'm going to have you answer this because that's going to fill in for what he just said in there.
Okay.
Being in the business as long as you have and being in your industry for a while, this is really going to pertain to both of you. Is Sean said he's been in with the same company for 17 years.
Mhm.
Now, there's a part of him that made free will, took free will, and made some decisions to go ahead and do what he's doing now. But what part of that, and this is really for the business owner, entrepreneur, and this is really for me because I'm looking, okay, I have these agents in 15, 20 years from now. What does that look like? How much of it is my responsibility? And this will actually pertain to Sean and you too, Brent. How much of it's is this going to pertain to? I have to be a better leader. So if someone's still with me in 17 years, they're still feeling like they're getting fulfilled. Because I think there's a little bit, not saying that that didn't happen, with Sean's, but it's the same. I'm going through it right now. If someone said something to me, something, hey, do you want to go with a different company? I would entertain that idea because sometimes I'm not getting fulfilled by the people that I think I should be fulfilled for. How much of that is my fault, and how much is it is the upper echelon's fault? Does that make sense? What I'm asking you?
I think so. Yeah. So, couple of things. One, Sean, I don't know if this is true or not, 100% true, but I congratulate you for uh, basically taking your ego and throwing it away and knocking yourself down to the bottom if that's what you did. And because that's the toughest part. It's easy to get up when somebody else knocks you down, but when you knock yourself down, that even feels harder. Like, why did I do this? Why didn't I take the easy way out? Right. And so I congratulate you for knocking yourself to the bottom and saying, look, I'm gonna take myself to the bottom and then I'm gonna build myself back up. And I think, because I've done this before, in your head, you probably said, do I have what it takes to do it again? And I'm going to challenge myself to it, and I'm going to prove to myself that I can. I'm sensing that that's what you did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's easy to think that when you've been in the business that long, you can just kind of coast, and that's definitely the easy way of doing it. But if you want something more, and I think the three of us are constantly pushing for that, I I think that you really got to look at it and be like, okay, well, I can coast and that's fine, or I can do a little bit more, and that's what I'm always pushing for.
Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, Blair, I always try to replace myself with my people. So I'm always trying to push them to take over my job.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're in the same place for 17 years, I haven't done my job, which means I'm in the same place for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't helped them. I haven't helped myself. I haven't helped my business. I haven't helped anybody other than my direct client get to somewhere else, right? If it's in your business or my business. But the bigger thing I want to strive for everybody to hear is that Sean probably didn't realize that he was challenging himself to the point of potential failure. And he was okay with that. Maybe not okay, 100%. But he said, I'm going to put myself in a potential spot of failure purposefully to see if I can kick as much ass as I used to. Because I don't want to be that old guy who can't do it, who's just sitting on the porch in the rocker, right? I want these young kids to know that I can still do this. And that's what you have to keep in mind as you go forward with this and building this team is let them know, like, I put myself here on purpose, guys, because I want to grow and build with you. Right. And I don't know if you realize that you did purposely put yourself there, or if you did wake up a few days ago and said, why did I purposely put myself there?
I think I realized that yesterday. Yeah. But I also don't think that I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I do better under pressure, and I don't know why I like doing this to myself, but it's a bit of a masochist kind of situation.
Yep.
Um, where I mean, I hate putting all that kind of pressure on myself doing that, but I also know that that's when I perform the best. And it's not like I was going for complete failure, but but um, I will say it's definitely not the smartest leveraged move. But I also know that on the other side of this, there's there's a lot of potential for success, and you just have to be determined to get through it. And it's not going to happen in a few weeks. I mean, I'm feeling a lot better today than I did 3 weeks ago, and I mean, it's because I've been able to fund a bunch of loans and get things through, and I've made some progress. But even in 3 weeks, I couldn't have told you 3 weeks ago that I'm as confident today in my decision. Um, I wouldn't have been able to tell you 3 weeks ago that I'm as confident in my decision today that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
guys get it, but um, I'm really happy with my decision. I know it's going to be a long-term success, but it's definitely scary to take the steps and make the move.
Are you the type of person that purposely has a bank account with almost no money in it so that way when you look at it, you're like, there's nothing in there. I got to fill it. And then when you put money in it, then you move it to another one so you can't see it again?
Yeah, I don't look at the retirement accounts, and I've got all these different accounts,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's funny. I know a bunch of agents that will close 3 or 4 deals and then go to Mexico for 2 weeks,
Right.
and uh, yeah, it's a philosophy of hustle. I guess you could say, um, just constantly knowing that you're putting yourself in a position to need more and do better.
Every
Um,
successful person that I interview, I ask them that question. And if they're truthful with me and truthful with themselves, they will not only tell me that, but they will tell me other things that they purposely put themselves in uncomfortable positions on a regular basis to strive for that desire to win. And they don't celebrate wins. That is a common thing in the people that I interview. They don't celebrate wins for more than about 15 minutes, 15 seconds or less. Those folks that you're talking about that go to Mexico for 2 weeks and check out, they're only going to ever hit here, and then they're okay with that, and that's fine, and that's their deal. But anybody who's trying to reach for the stars is probably not that person. I mean, we talk about Andy Frisella on here.
Mm-hmm.
Andy's worth a couple $1 billion now, 6 billion,
Mm-hmm.
$7 billion, right? Maybe more, who knows? And the dude puts him like, I think I saw one, 293 days in a row. He's put himself in his cold plunge for 8 minutes each time. I can do 4 minutes or 5 minutes. I've done 30 minutes before, but 30 minutes at 42 degrees, that's a killer. And he
30
does
minutes.
and he does 8 minutes twice a day on top of doing 75 hard. Now a lot of people would say at $6 billion, you don't need to do that. You don't have to do that. Why is he still putting himself in uncomfortable positions?
The discipline. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, too, I want to say this too, and I think, Sean, there's a big thing, and for as much and little as I know about you, your purpose has changed drastically over the last year.
Yep.
Massive, right? A brand new baby. Congratulations on that. He's a little stud. If you haven't followed Sean LaRue on Instagram, follow him because he's got a cute little boy. That is for sure. But I also think too is this new. I'm listening to you, Brent, and I'm listening to Sean as well. Is when I go back to say your purpose has changed for the reason of now you're responsible for all these upcoming agents that are learning or are loan officers. Your success, actually, their success is determined on your success, right? So that makes it. Let's put some weight on your shoulder. Not only do I have to serve a purpose for my son and my wife, and I get that. Now I have a purpose of I have to provide something for these guys coming up because if they fail, it's on me, right?
Right.
So that is a lot of stuff. And I think for you, and I'm in the same boat, and I heard some stuff today is sometimes we self-sabotage ourselves a little bit because of a lack of belief or from failures that we've had in the past, failures that we've had in the past. But the hard part is just like, okay, I didn't make it this one, but getting back up and doing this again. I'm like, okay, this time I'll get through it, or maybe it takes you 4 or 5 times, and that's what I'm hearing from you, Sean. Is that, hey, I kind of didn't know I was good as what I was, or I just figured out what I am now, and I'm starting to see that. And it took a couple of weeks for you to kind of. I'm sure there was over those 3 weeks there was a lot of self-doubt. Am I correct in saying that? It was like, oh
There's a lot of
man.
back and forth as to whether you made the right decision. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the breakup process too.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the ex-girlfriend syndrome, where you only remember the good things
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and you never remember, what drove you to get to that point. Um, but like I said earlier, like creating this new life by design and having that purpose, um, I'm feeling more fulfilled than I have in 5 years, and I'm not even, it hasn't even gotten started yet.
Yeah.
And having my baby boy and my wife, it's just a completely different sense of purpose than I was living for before. And I love what I do. I mean, it's the reason why I do what I do. Um, but having something more than just performing for my clients has been super fulfilling. Because you know I was married in the past. Um, she had her work and her school, and that was all good. But we didn't have any kids, and I love being a dad, and so
It's the best thing.
having having that sense of purpose, it's something that I knew I always wanted. Um, but also it helps you set the disciplines and the time management and choosing the priorities and putting the big rocks in place in order to have that life by design. And that change in purpose has completely influenced, where I'm at right now. And it's just so beautiful.
It's a journey, brother. I hear you. Breakups suck, but breakups always. I mean, as I said, I don't think that God will give us anything that we can't handle.
Right.
We do have free will and free choices, and you made some decisions. I've made some decisions. Brent's have made some decisions that have been in our world probably catastrophic. For some other people, may not have been as well. They wouldn't look at it that way, and that's okay. Doesn't matter what other people think of them. When you're going through it, it's your journey, and no one can change that. And I'll be transparent. There was times I worried about you, brother. You know, it's just because I've been in that struggle of different break. If it's not a business relationship or a personal relationship, the breakups suck, and it could really it could put you in the gutter quickly.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to scratch out of it, again, one of the reason why we put the show on too is just sharing with people is, making these decisions could be catastrophic in your world, but it doesn't mean that you can't pull. I think Sean said this earlier. You can pull up your big boy pants and get after it. It just may take a little bit longer to put one leg into it and move forward. So
Right.
keep pushing on that, man. I love you. I've stuck. You and I have stuck together through thick and thin, through the short time that you and I've known each other. And gosh darn, the guy that's sitting in the middle that I'm looking for on the screen right now, Brent Wright. Boy, have we tasted some bitterness in the past or what, brother? Right?
Yeah. So while you're sitting there talking, Sean, we can talk some logistics offline about this, but I had my first kid when I was 42. And over the last 10 years, I've gone through a lot of what you're going to go through. Probably a little bit differently, from here to there. Life's different for everybody. But over the last 15 years, I've done exactly what you did. I had a business breakup. My whole life turned upside down. In the same week, I sold my business in a forcible sale, forcible breakup, attorneys involved, the whole enchilada. I decided that I was moving. I broke up with my girlfriend, and all of it, and added a new person to my life. A month later, and my current wife now, and changed my whole trajectory. I flipped my whole world upside down, and I did some of it on purpose, and I did some of it. Some of it was forced upon me, but I did have free will in some of those decisions. I could have chose to sell my soul to the devil and stayed, or whatever it was. But what was just put on my heart while you were talking was, I don't know if you've listened to how many of these have you listened to, but I do. I do life coaching, I do business coaching, I do all the things with that. I don't usually promote it, but What I will tell you is I will give you a free hour once a month going forward for however many years you want to talk to me. And I'm willing to help you for free. And whatever
That's
that needs
awesome.
to, just schedule it.
That's amazing, man.
Hop on my link tree. Hop on. Blair can get you my Calendly link, and you can schedule that at will. Whenever you need to talk, just schedule it. Give me at least a half hour notice, and we'll get you taken care of. But don't feel like you're alone in this world, because you're not. Again, my life trajectory, your life trajectory might be end up at the end of the day different, but we have similarities that I can help you with, and I will give you the cheat codes if you want them.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
I'll
And I
definitely
think
take
that's,
you up on that.
yeah, man. Dude, that was just so good. I think that's, you just kind of hit the nail on the head is what we need to get back to is, we talked about different things as men in silos. And then Sean, you talked about surrounding yourself with 5 different people. Is that sometimes we need to surround ourselves by a group of men, and sometimes it's more than 5 people, is knowing that we can kind of go through this together. Right. It's hard to be vulnerable. And Sean, right, you just did a couple minutes ago before Brent started talking. And if you guys missed that, there was a lot of vulnerability that you typically don't like to share. So I appreciate that you're doing that. But we need more of that as men. We need more of that as women as too, is we always have to be what we kind of jokingly talked about this, rainbow and butterflies and airplanes and yachts and cars and stuff like this on Instagram.
Boats and hose.
Boats and hoes, right? The Santa Maria. I could produce a court, right?
I love that show.
So anyway, the point of this is that, gosh darn, man, we got to sit here and help each other. And I think that's what it is too, is going through this and knowing that other people are struggling and doing some different things. So when you're watching this, leave us a comment. This is nothing. We want to hear, are you going through the same things that Sean went through? Are you going through the same things that Brent went through? Are you going through me? I mean, if you want to know kind of what I've gone through, we still have scratched the surface. I haven't peeled back the onion all the way yet, but there's avenues to go ahead and talk things out right now. And before we even got on here, I think, or even we probably said this in this episode right now, is we're talking through some stuff, and maybe Sean's going to leave here with some revelation, if you may, of like, holy Moses, that was a lot. And that's typically how we leave on these episodes anyways. Just, we come back and like, oh my gosh, okay, we do this and make some adjustments. But I want to go back to on this, Sean. We said this earlier. How are you still struggling to get up? And the reason, this is nothing against you, and I'm hoping that help other people in this. On those days that you're struggling to get out of bed, minus the sun, minus your wife, minus the business, what are some of the things that you're telling yourself just to get out of bed in the morning when the days just suck? I mean,
Or better yet, why do those days suck?
Right?
Why do you feel that way?
Well, let me remind you, I have a 3-month-old baby boy. So getting up and out of bed isn't necessarily the hard thing or a choice. But it's interesting to face the reality that you've created and just keep pushing through. And we were talking about doing the videos and putting some of those other things in place. And what I'm learning and what I'm trying to lean into a lot more is like what I was talking about earlier, is setting those priorities and having those time blocks. Mm-hmm. And what is helping me most recently is finding joy in the activity to produce the result. So last week you guys were talking about getting up, getting to the gym, not running late. And it's one of those things. It's like, I love doing my social media videos. I'm overanalyzing and overthinking them because I'm thinking I'm just walking the dog and I need to be in my office. I need to be stationary. I need to be looking at the camera. I need to not have all this other stuff going on. But you know what? It's freaking real. I don't have a script. I'm literally doing it off the top of my head. I'm not even looking at the camera in yesterday's. I'm like looking down at the dog, like walking around taking a poop because it's real. I didn't even edit out saying good morning to the neighbor as I'm walking by, and I'm like not trying to look like an idiot with my phone, walking my dog and like all this stuff. And so I just edit out like the long pause, and then I keep the good morning in there because it's real. And it's like, Blair, what did you say before we even started recording? Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
Yep.
And my thing is like, go find the joy in it. I get to walk the dog. I get a couple minute break. I get to think like on 25 minutes, I'm thinking about all the stuff that I can talk about. It's super clear. I bust out the phone and I do it. I'm just trying to find joy in every activity because I think we're so used to being pulled in so many different directions. I know for me, trying to focus on anything for more than 5 minutes is a heck of a task, and not being taken away to something else. And Blair, I got to commend you, like doing your time blocking, and we weren't able to connect that one Sunday, but that's fine. Like I'm learning also like people's schedules and being a dad and not being available every 2 seconds. Like it's a heck of a learning curve, everything going on. But I think to get back to the answer for your question is what gets me out of bed is taking joy in the process and realizing that it is a process and that you don't have to be bounced from thing to thing. You get to control the cadence of your life and prioritize what's most important at that time. So, you know, Mr. Ryder's over here all passed out, but he got his walk in, and you know, that's what was important, enjoying that task and getting the results from it. So I would say that that's what's getting me up and going every day is just taking joy in the process right now.
Yeah, I hope that you remember that, Judy. Actually, you helped me out a lot about that too. Is just the joy of the process, because sometimes the process sucks. Actually, anybody who's watching this knows that the process sucks, and it's not to downplay what he just said. Is just is having that as a trigger in your brain that walking the dog is going to could be the best part of my day. Not taken away from kids and wives and stuff like that. It just that might be the best part of your day for that day, and to live in that joy for a moment, because you're in a tough industry. Everybody's in a tough industry. I don't care what business you're in right now. It's freaking tough, and trying to find the joy in certain moments just to get you through that. Brent and I are, and I know that you've dabbled in it a little bit, Sean, and it is what it is. But Brent and I are faith based, and I was just reading something today. Is like the best part of my day is to do my, I'm going through the Bible in a year, and that's trying to get me focused. And that may be for some people, and that may not be for other people. And that's not saying I'm better or less than anybody else. The point is like there's certain things that to get through this journey, and we're just starting in the real estate world, and you're reshaping yourself is to get through the journey. We have to find those. So thank you for saying that, because I think that's what I get lost in sometimes is finding the joy in certain moments, and celebrating those moments, even though maybe 5 or 10 seconds of celebration, just to remember that, thank God we get the opportunity to do this, right? Because we could live in other places in this world that we don't have the opportunities to do what we're doing.
Couple of things. Do you have a whiteboard in your office, Sean?
I do. Big one right here.
Right at the top of it, enjoy the moment, draw a line, everything else goes under that. I'm dead serious. Do you don't have to do it right now, but do it soon, and don't forget that. And the reason why I say that is because enjoy the moment is over everything. And literally, physically, it will be over everything if you put it at the top and draw a line over it. Enjoy the moment over everything. And it's going to psychologically set you up for everything. You're going to see it when you don't even know that you're seeing it, right? Every time you look over there. Is that how you structure your day, is on your whiteboard, or is that important things, or is that a vision board, or what do you use that for?
I'm using it for artwork storage right now, but I will be busting that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking about using the whiteboard for some other points in social media, and some mind mapping and stuff. But
so what I use mine for is just straight up brain dump. I keep something beside my bed, not my phone, but I keep a pad and pen in my drawer, and middle of the night, I'll wake up. You got a 3-month-old, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night, right? And so when you're sitting there and you're trying to put your son to sleep or whatever it is, coddling him or cuddling him or making sure that he's okay, you're going to have these things that just show up in your head. Write them down. Don't wait to write them down. I promise you, you will forget some of the most important things that will come to you during those times. The times of stress are going to drive times of change going forward for you. So make sure to write those things down. A couple of other things. Have you read The Richest Man in Babylon?
Yes.
So reread that.
Yeah.
That is going to be your key going forward to creating success in others. If I were you and you're creating a team, I would start a book club and make sure those people and do what I do with it and put a $20 bill in the back.
I knew it was coming.
And don't tell them.
I knew it was coming.
Yep.
Put a $20 bill, what?
In the back. Tape it in the back of the book. Give them 30 days to finish the book. And if they finish it, they get the $20. If they don't, take it back from them on the 31st day and show them the $20. Teach them a lesson. This is what you could have got. You never know where the riches are going to lie, right? It's in knowledge. It's in understanding. It's in application.
Yeah.
Right? Key. Huge key right there. And then I don't know if you said, Blair, that Sean has dabbled in faith-based things. Mm-hmm. I would challenge you to read Proverbs every day. One a day. There's 31 of them. There's 31 days in most months, 30 to 31. It never hurts to reread them. I've been struggling with this this is my second year. 2 Januaries ago, I started this, and every day is a struggle for me to finish reading it. Mm-hmm. And it's a challenge every single day for me to do that. I've got it time blocked, and it gets pushed. It gets pushed. It gets pushed. And eventually, I'm hoping by the time I die that I'll be able to have read all 31 of them effectively in 31 days.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge to myself. So I figured I would share that with you. And just know that on any level of success, it's still a challenge. You're never going to – if everything turns out perfect, plan on getting hit by a bus that day.
We were talking earlier about, we're in this transition. I would argue to say that life is a transition, mm-hmm. that we're constantly, mm-hmm. in a transition. And I don't know, Midnight in Paris kind of comes to mind, where you gotta love, what's your golden era. And I'm kind of going through that right now with the transition and different things. You kind of get used to and comfortable, and that muscle memory, is comfortable. But what's your golden era? It should be enjoying the moment. Mm-hmm. This should be your golden era. So
there's just so much to go on that, man. And Brent, thanks for putting out there. So, and two is, even though that Brent is challenging Sean at this moment to is more of a challenge to all of us to go ahead and look at some different avenues. I think that's where we, our call to action right now is consistently growing. And it's not just so much growing for ourselves, it's growing to become leaders for other people as well. And that, again, another purpose for this podcast is to constantly push us and not call only ourselves out, but call others out right now. There is room in the top for more leaders. And just because you think your time has passed, and I think we have mentioned this in episode 2 or 3, dude, way back in the day, in episode number 2 or 3, it just like, we always heard the term, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I get that. But the point of it is the window of opportunity is always open, and it's to decide if you want to crawl through it or not. And I think what Sean's doing right now is you took the window of opportunity to go ahead and expand further. We will never, ever, ever, and I say this with a grain of salt, is I don't know if we'll ever reach our full capability while we're here on this earth. And that's why we keep pursuing the way that we do too. And then what Sean's doing is, surrounding himself with 5 different people, reading different books, being a part of different programs. What Brent is doing some life coaching and some business coaching, being a successful business person for over 20 years and owning multiple business. What I'm doing is trying to change the industry of real estate agents on here for the purpose of, I think there's just much more than selling houses. I think there's connections that we're going to be eternal, not just external, but really internal type of thing. So constantly pushing that envelope to get better. There's going to be some wins and there's going to be a lot of failures in there. But what I love to hear about this panel today is everything that we're trying to do, not only for ourselves, but other people that are involved with there. So it's been a really, really cool 40 something minutes that we've been on here so far. So I just, I think we're just going to wrap. Actually, I don't think we're going to wrap this up right now.
I got one last thing. You guys gave me a huge visual here. So growth is like crawling through a window where you've broken the glass and there's shards of glass still in the window frame, and you're trying to crawl through without getting cut. That is entrepreneurship. That is growth. That is business. That is life. And I'm a very visual person, and that's a visual for me. So thank you guys. That's what you guys gave me that visual, and I appreciate it.
Way to save the golden nugget at the end, brother. Sean, any final words for you, my friend?
No, just keep doing what you guys are doing. I think it's hard to see the effect you guys are having, and you guys get together every week and you're spitballing and you're doing your thing. I want you to know that you guys are providing value in the people that you guys reach, and just keep doing it. It's probably a relatively thankless thing that you guys are doing, but I think you guys are actually getting probably the most out of it yourselves. But just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. So thank you. I'm watching. I'm learning a lot as I'm becoming this old guy who still rocks, and just really appreciate you guys and the opportunity to share my story. So,
oh man, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Grateful.
Any final words for you, my dude, Brent?
Just go make a damn difference. Sean and everybody out there.
All right, man. Okay, guys, we're going to kind of head out of here, and it's just, I most likely have said this in the beginning too, is we're constantly, for certain things that we talk about, sometimes we bring up the word of God and some other things we bring on here, but once in a while, people on YouTube like to shadow ban us or, throttle us a little bit. So if you're watching this show, first of all, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to this button. But we really, really, really need you to share this episode and go back and watch other episodes and share them as well. We will never, ever, ever be monetized. We will get better as time goes on to it. We're still learning the nuances of this podcast, but we've made it a lot farther than a lot of other people have so far. But the premise of this is not, we don't want you to share the show so we can get money, because we're not going to accept checks so we can continue to say what we want to say. But we do need to share the show because sometimes they kind of put this kibosh on us. Not all the times, just sometimes that we talked out to. And I don't know if that's going to be this episode or not. But in the meantime, we're out of here. We're going to go ahead and throw one more starfish out there. We hope that starfish is you today and that we changed your life for the things that we brought up to it. But have a great, great day. Stay safe. But most of all, guys, God bless, and we'll talk to you on the other side. Take care.